Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special breaking news segment. I'm Richard, reporting on a major shakeup that's turning the entertainment world upside down. Our top story tonight concerns the film adaptation of a best-selling novel, which at first glance seemed like a heartwarming production. But behind the scenes, it's a tale of strategic moves, contract renegotiations, and star power politics. Rachel, can you shed some light on how this story began?
Absolutely, Richard. This has to do with the novel It Ends With Us, which skyrocketed in popularity thanks to its intense emotional storyline and the dedicated fan base of author Colleen Hoover. It was initially acquired for film adaptation by producer, director, actor Justin Baldoni, who's known for championing heartfelt dramas. Early in the process, he self-funded the movie's $25 million budget through his own studio, a bold move that put him quite literally front and center as both creative leader and financial risk taker. The distribution side, however, was handled collaboratively with a major player, Sony Studios. The novel itself follows deeply personal themes and centers on Lily Bloom, the main character. Lily's emotional journey has resonated with millions of readers. So when rumors spread that the beloved actress Blake Lively was set to star, fans were thrilled. They assumed Lively was simply coming aboard as the talented lead. In reality, she also acquired an honorary executive producer credit from the start, which some believe to be a mere gesture of respect. It turned out to be something far more powerful. What happened next is reminiscent of the strategy used by another A-list star, Ryan Reynolds, when he took a relatively small paycheck for the first Deadpool film, ensuring the project got off the ground. Later, of course, Deadpool became an extraordinary success, giving Reynolds enough leverage to push for deeper control, script rewrites, and highly profitable back-end deals in subsequent productions. There are strong indications that Lively's approach tracks similarly with that proven blueprint. According to various accounts, she joined It Ends With Us at a lower rate, about $3 million, significantly less than you'd expect for someone of her prominence. While still a large sum to many of us, it was notably modest in the context of Hollywood budgets and was apparently well under her usual quote. Some speculate that she accepted this figure intentionally to keep the initial budget manageable in exchange for the opportunity to claim greater influence as production progressed.
Rachel, that's very intriguing. So the seeds of this takeover, as some are calling it, were planted right at the beginning with that small paycheck and the executive producer credit. But I understand the real turning point came when production was already underway and a significant portion of the budget had been spent. Can you walk us through that?
Yes, Richard, that's when events took a dramatic turn. By the time roughly half of the budget was allocated, covering set construction, location bookings, and so forth, Blake Lively initiated some substantial demands regarding wardrobe. Normally, the costuming phase is thoroughly organized early on. Designers select pieces, finalize them, and tailor them to the actor. In this case, from what we hear, the production had painstakingly chosen Lily Bloom's entire wardrobe based on the novel's character descriptions and the film's stylistic direction. Then, partway through filming, Lively decided she wanted to change many outfits, requiring the production team to purchase and ship more clothing to her residence for further fittings. This wasn't just a matter of returning a few dresses. The plan had to be reworked entirely. The last-minute changes ate into a budget that was not designed to accommodate repeated costuming overhauls. This maneuver, some might argue, helped Lively gauge how far the producers would bend to her vision. Why didn't Justin Baldoni simply say, "No, we're not doing that"? Apparently because the project relied heavily on Lively's star power. If Lively walked away, the potential for the film to lose distribution or tank at the box office was massive. Baldoni had personally invested in this film and had even roped in co-distribution deals that might evaporate if the lead actress withdrew. So to keep the train moving forward, Baldoni and the production team reportedly granted her requests, despite the strain on finances. Many film experts say this parallels Ryan Reynolds' experiences on the first Deadpool. The film had a $58 million budget, relatively low for a superhero movie, so star input could shift certain creative aspects with less pushback from large studios. Interestingly, Lively's strategic changes in costuming aren't the only place where she drew parallels with that blueprint.
Right, because there's an entire saga about script rewrites and unexpected visits by influential allies, correct? What more can you tell us about that dimension of this story?
That's where the plot thickens, Richard. Reports suggest that once Lively established her authority in areas like wardrobe, she moved on to the script. Allegedly, she and Ryan Reynolds began revising key dialogue sequences from their home. The official screenwriter and Baldoni as the director weren't initially involved in these rewrites. According to unconfirmed insider accounts, Lively invited Justin Baldoni over to review her ideas, but when he arrived, he discovered more star power waiting. The net result was a group persuasion effort praising Lively's new dialogue and pushing for immediate acceptance. Baldoni, by multiple accounts, resisted at first, wanting to maintain the creative control he'd carefully mapped out for several years. Yet the environment proved challenging. With two high-profile figures encouraging Lively's changes, Baldoni had to manage both professional relationships and the potential marketing fallout of disagreeing with them. In the end, Baldoni relented on certain script changes, possibly seeing it as a concession to keep his leading actress and her supporters on board. In the world of film production, script revisions are common. What's distinctive here is the sense that Lively and Reynolds engineered these changes unilaterally, circumventing usual protocols. This is reminiscent of the near-guerrilla approach Reynolds took to rewrite or punch up comedic lines in Deadpool, only this time the context is a romantic drama, and key detail is that Lively also texted Baldoni late at night expressing disappointment whenever she sensed hesitation or pushback, intensifying the pressure. Baldoni even sent voice messages apologizing and reaffirming his trust in her creative instincts. It all paints a picture of a lead actress who recognized that the director's position was vulnerable and took full advantage of that leverage.
That's riveting. It's unusual for a star to have that level of sway unless the production is so dependent on them that the producers have no other choice. But let's bring in a significant factor here: the industry strikes. My understanding is that while these disruptions were detrimental to many projects, they actually opened a door for further renegotiations with Ms. Lively. How did that come about?
Precisely, Richard. The timing was almost surreal. During the window when the industry was hit with large-scale strikes, It Ends With Us halted production. Most projects were on pause, uncertain about when they'd pick up again. For Lively, this gap offered a prime moment to step in and finalize new terms before filming could resume. It's been reported that she presented an extensive list of demands for returning to the set, 17 non-negotiable points, in fact. These demands allegedly expanded her influence, granting her additional say over everything from the final edit to the marketing approach. Why would she leverage this period of downtime? Because the momentum of filming had already begun, and Baldoni and Sony Studios had heavily invested financially. Pulling out or recasting the lead would have been impractical. Lively's star power remained essential for box office appeal, especially given the novel's massive built-in fan following. By the time the dust settled, she effectively strengthened her behind-the-scenes position. Many liken this to Ryan Reynolds' renegotiations between Deadpool and Deadpool 2. He went from a star who needed the film to succeed at all costs to a producer with significant creative control. The difference here is that Lively was catapulting herself into the producer role at a faster pace, thanks to a confluence of circumstances like the strike-induced hiatus. For smaller films, there's typically more flexibility. Fewer corporate layers mean a lead star can sometimes wield significant clout if they sense the producers are stretched thin and have no workable backup plan. This was definitely the case for Justin Baldoni, who was balancing directorial responsibilities with personal financial stakes and who couldn't simply write a bigger check to fix every problem. The final push for Lively came later in the editing phase, which is often considered sacred territory for directors.
Talk to us about that editing phase. It's well known in Hollywood that the director's cut is guarded by certain guild rules, ensuring the director can develop a cohesive vision. But from the rumors swirling around, it seems Ms. Lively took unprecedented liberties. What do we know?
The editing process is indeed one of the most critical and protected stages of filmmaking. Typically, once principal photography wraps, the director is given a set amount of time, often referred to as the director's cut period, during which they can work with the editors without excessive interference. This ensures the final film aligns closely with the director's vision. Here, however, Blake Lively reportedly gained access to the editing bay for what was initially only supposed to be a 2-day collaboration. In a scenario that feels straight out of a Hollywood drama, that access extended to 10 days. In that time, Lively allegedly commissioned an alternate cut of the film, bringing in editors associated with Ryan Reynolds' earlier work. What's more, the film's original composer was let go, with rumors pointing to personal disagreements involving one of Lively's close associates. The composer was replaced by someone from Ryan Reynolds' professional circle, intensifying the sense that Lively was systematically reorganizing the project. They ended up with 2 competing cuts: Justin Baldoni's director's cut and Blake Lively's version. Test screenings reportedly favored Baldoni's cut, but Lively's star power and her rumored threat to boycott promotional events loomed large. Promotional appearances by a lead star can make or break a film's public visibility. It's widely known that not having a star at premieres and interviews is a significant handicap. This ultimatum alone could push studios to consider releasing her cut over the director's version, or at least forcing a compromise. While it may sound extraordinary, this phenomenon, where an A-list actor or actress can shape the final version of a film, is not without precedent. But the scale, timing, and thoroughness of the approach here are especially striking. It's as if we're witnessing the day-by-day blueprint for how an actor quietly secures an unassailable producer credit.
Which brings us to that final question. Why go to all these lengths for a formal producer credit, recognized by the Producers Guild of America? It might seem like a detail for insider baseball, but it's turning out to be absolutely pivotal for Miss Lively, correct?
It's enormously significant, Richard. Being recognized by the Producers Guild of America, often represented by the PGA notation next to one's name, validates a film professional's producing prowess. It confirms that this individual contributed meaningfully to major facets of production, development of the story, selection and hiring of key personnel, oversight of editing, involvement in music, and scoring decisions, and even marketing input. Having that credential can catapult an actor like Lively into an entirely new level of industry clout, opening doors for greater creative autonomy and higher financial stakes. This sets the stage for bigger paydays and better deals on future projects. Take the example of Ryan Reynolds. After claiming production credits on Deadpool 2, he was able to command a substantially higher salary and profit participation deal. He's now recognized as not just an actor, but also an influential producer who can successfully shepherd projects from concept to screen. Lively appears to be following a similar path, with her sights possibly set on a broader cinematic universe adapted from Colleen Hoover's best-selling catalog. Colleen Hoover herself is supportive, having launched a new production company rumored to be coordinating with Lively on multiple potential adaptations. If Lively lands that official producer status on It Ends With Us, she establishes her track record for bigger, more influential deals going forward. It's a game changer for her career, possibly overshadowing the friction that occurred behind the scenes.
So we have a situation where a relatively modest movie by Hollywood standards is actually a testing ground for a major shift in star power dynamics. Has there been any public reaction from Baldoni or others involved? And how about the fans who adore this novel?
Officially, none of the principal players, Lively, Baldoni, or Reynolds, have come forward with a definitive statement addressing these allegations in full detail. Fans are left speculating as bits of information emerge through online leaks, social media chatter, and behind-the-scenes accounts. Justin Baldoni has made public comments here and there, though, describing some stressful moments on set. One story that surfaced described an occasion at a major promotional event or screening where Baldoni felt sidelined in favor of bigger names. He reportedly had to wait in a separate location with friends and family for an extended period, an experience he called disheartening. We don't have a direct quote from him tying that event to Lively's influence, but the timing and context fueled widespread speculation. For fans of Colleen Hoover's novel, the speculation can be unnerving. Many readers fell in love with the deeply personal, relationship-oriented story of It Ends With Us and want to see an adaptation that stays true to the source material. The emerging concern is that heavy involvement from outside script rewrites, plus potential changes in cinematic tone, might shift the essence of the story. On the other hand, some fans are excited to see big Hollywood names lending star power to the film, believing that it could lead to a well-funded adaptation with top-tier production values. It's truly a split reaction. Do you want the truest adaptation possible, or do you want the biggest possible platform for the story? Ultimately, the question remains, which cut will we see in theaters? Justin Baldoni's or Blake Lively's? Or perhaps a hybrid cut that merges some of the best elements of both? At this point, it's an unanswered question, but one with massive implications for everyone's careers.
We're nearing the big finale, Rachel, but one key point remains. The rumor that Lively's ultimate goal was not just to gain producer credibility, but also to secure a broader deal, possibly controlling multiple Colleen Hoover adaptations. Can you summarize the significance of that and how it might transform the industry?
Certainly, Richard. Colleen Hoover is one of the most successful contemporary authors, especially in the romance and emotional drama genres. She has multiple bestsellers, many of which could be prime candidates for film or streaming adaptations. If Lively and her allies secure a production pipeline that capitalizes on Hoover's intellectual property, they could quickly build a mini empire. Think about it. A well-connected actress turned producer, a prolific author with a massive fan base, and the potential marketing synergy from these combined forces. Should that happen, it represents a microcosm of a larger shift where actors are no longer content simply to star in films. They want to own a larger piece of the creative and financial puzzle. For decades, a handful of actor-producers have charted this path, but the level of direct control Lively appears to be establishing could make waves for how future deals are structured. Imagine a scenario where, instead of major studios dictating terms to big-name actors, the star themselves has enough leverage, brand recognition, and strategic relationships to effectively run the show from beginning to end. Moreover, if these Hoover adaptations catch fire in the marketplace and show consistent revenue, we might see more best-selling authors partnering directly with star producer teams. Traditional studio systems may face an arms race, trying to lock down rights to popular novels before an actor-driven production company nabs them. In short, Lively could become a leading face of this new wave, just as Reynolds did in the superhero comedy landscape with Deadpool. The difference is that romantic dramas, especially those dealing with serious themes, often require sensitive handling. So if this takeover approach leads to high-quality adaptations, fans might forgive the behind-the-scenes drama. But if it results in disjointed films, the story of Lively's sweeping control might overshadow the narrative itself. It's risky, but the potential payoff is enormous.
That's a detailed analysis, Rachel. Let's wrap up with your final thoughts. How likely is it that the final product from It Ends With Us aligns with the original novel's heart-wrenching tone? And what can our viewers expect in the coming months from this unfolding story?
We're in uncharted territory, Richard. On the one hand, you have a devoted director and original producer in Justin Baldoni, who spent years shaping this film's narrative to match Colleen Hoover's artistic intent. On the other, you have an actress with significant star quality, Blake Lively, who's shown she can rewrite scenes, restructure entire production departments, and push for wholesale marketing plans. The long-term significance depends largely on how this collaboration or conflict resolves. If the version that hits theaters retains the emotional arc that made the novel beloved, fans might respond positively, and the film could become a sleeper hit or even a box office success. That would validate Lively's methods in some sense, because success in Hollywood often buries controversy. Conversely, if viewers sense a disconnect between the cinematic portrayal and the original text, or if the marketing drama overshadows the storyline itself, the film could falter. Either way, the broader Hollywood community will watch closely. This scenario could become the gold standard for future star-driven acquisitions, or a cautionary tale illustrating how too much star involvement can derail a production's core vision. Viewers should keep an eye out for official statements. So far, we've only seen glimpses of each side's perspective. As promotional campaigns ramp up, it's likely the cast will appear in interviews and press tours. Whether Lively steps forward enthusiastically or holds back could confirm or dispel the rumors. And if this film becomes a critical or financial winner, brace yourself for more Lively-led adaptations of Colleen Hoover's works, and possibly an entire wave of actor-driven production deals. One thing is certain, the power balance in Hollywood is shifting, and It Ends With Us is right in the eye of the storm.
Thank you, Rachel. This has been a revealing deep dive into a story that might redefine how we think about creative control in the movie industry. Folks, stay tuned to this segment for updates as the situation evolves. If the final cut of It Ends With Us emerges soon, we'll be the first to analyze its reception, box office performance, and yes, any additional behind-the-scenes bombshells that come to Wayboy. For now, that concludes our special report. We hope we've given you the background you need to follow this unfolding drama. Until next time, this is Richard signing off for our breaking news desk. Stay informed, stay curious, and watch out for the next wave of Hollywood surprises. Good night, everyone.